Attention, attention, attention. End the Federal Reserve banking cartel. They are a private banking entity. Your income tax goes directly into their pockets. The government is not here to help you.
Today, all money is based on your production, but as a mortgage to the banking system, who creates all the money as a promise to pay you. And they simply put those numbers in your checking account when you sign a promissory note to pay them back. The problem of it is, they only loan you the principal, and that's all that's created. Then they demand the principal plus interest back, and now there's debt. The debt has grown, but the money supply has not. And you see this all the time, because how could we possibly get in a debt in a nation that's been probably the most wealth-producing nation in the entire history of the world, and yet we ended up in just 250 years over $57 trillion in debt.
The Fed, who is a private bank, let's be clear about this, this is not part of our government, really. But people think it is. The sheeple out there that don't take time to really find out what's going on. The sheeple out there hear federal and they go, wow, it's government, we better do it. I just want to say this. The government, if they're going to put us on debt for $750 billion, then they better be giving it to us directly.
We're not going to stand idly by as a group of bankers decides how much paper to give us for the fruits of our labor. We're not going to stand and watch them tell our elected officials that they don't have to answer their questions. They're answerable to no one. We're here to say that they're answerable to the people, they're answerable to us. Now, to win this fight, we have to win the information war. We have to teach our neighbors and our friends and our families about what's really going on. The people in this audience are informed. We know what's going on at the Federal Reserve. We know all about it. But we have to spread that knowledge. The Constitution of the United States is not a constitution for conservatives. The Bill of Rights is not a Bill of Rights for liberals. It is our Constitution, our Bill of Rights.
Yeah.
For we, the people, that they being Democrats and Republicans together, ripped to shreds. I say, let us all stand together on the principles of the Campaign for Liberty, standing up for all of us and all rights as Americans.
Yes!
Yes!
Yes! Yes!
I'm going to end with this. Taking this from Ron's speech at the campaign for the Republican rally during the Republican National Convention. Exactly. Where the hell are you beeping your horn? Stand real with us.
Come and park your car!
We should resist them. Civilly, while we still can.
Yes!
Yeah.
However, and this is Ron saying this, and I agree with him, there may come a time when we will need to water the tree of liberty with blood, be it theirs or be it ours.
And it's hard when you deal out there with everybody else that's asleep and trying to tell them that the Fed is private. And they're like, no, some website that ends in .gov said it's government. Well, no, it's not. You can offer them as much proof as you want, but they won't listen. God could come down from on high and tell them, the Federal Reserve is private. And they'll go, I don't think so. How do you guys want to end the Fed? Come on! How do you guys want to see these crooks go to jail? How do you guys would like to see everybody in Washington right now fired, for crying out loud? All right, here's a tough question now. You might identify yourselves as possible terror threats, but I want a good reaction here. How many of you people believe in the Constitution of the United States of America? How many? Yeah, it is radical, isn't it? Oh my God, I carry one in my back pocket. I am so extreme.
What do you say to Thomas Jefferson, who opposed the first central bank? What do you say to James Madison, who opposed the first central bank? Well, what do you say to Andrew Jackson, who opposed the second bank and killed the second bank? Andrew Jackson famously said, "I do not believe that the national debt is a national necessity or a national blessing, but rather a curse upon the republic, inasmuch as it is calculated to raise around the administration of moneyed aristocracy dangerous to liberty." Andrew Jackson understood that the Federal Reserve is equivalent to having a national debt. They're two parts of the same question. You can't have a large national debt without having a Federal Reserve. If you want to get rid of the Federal Reserve, you have to believe in making the deficit smaller. We would have to have a vastly smaller national debt, and that's why many of us would like to get rid of the Federal Reserve. I don't oppose the Federal Reserve because it is secretive, though it is. I don't oppose the Federal Reserve because it lacks congressional restraints, although it does. I don't oppose the Federal Reserve because it's a private cartel, though it is. I oppose the Federal Reserve primarily because it wreaks havoc on the economy. We need to understand, and this is the most important probably question of the last 30 or 40 years, what caused the panic of 2008? Was it capitalism or was it the Federal Reserve? Most economists have decided and would agree that price controls are bad. All you have to do is look at the Soviet Union and see what happens when you try to fix the price of bread. They had no bread or they had too much bread. They had food lines and they had rationing. But if you ask economists, should we have a Federal Reserve, most of them still don't get it. But what is happening and what is the price of money? Interest rates are basically the price of money. So it's the same as setting the price of bread. When you set the price of money, you inevitably will make bad decisions. And that's what happened over the period of time between 2002 and 2008. After the dot-com crisis, they decided they would lower the interest rates to zero. Interest rates are a barometer within the economy, and when the economy gets overheated, they naturally will rise. But as the economy became overheated after 2002, as you approach 2004, 5, and 6, you got an alarming bubble in the housing market. This did not happen as a consequence of capitalism. And this is not an academic debate, this is an important debate, because whoever wins this debate will decide the history and the future of this country. In the 1930s, they had this debate, and we had this debate through the 1940s and 50s, but who won the debate? The big government people won the debate, and they said that the American Depression was caused by capitalism. Consequently, we got more and more intervention into the marketplace, and more a slow ebb and flow towards socialism. Now it's not a slow ebb and flow, it's a quick ebb and flow as we nationalize the banks and are purchasing equity in banks. And believe it or not, they're not even letting the banks get rid of the government money. They won't let the banks pay back the government money. Because it's about control. Now that they have equity in the banks, we're losing control of private institutions. When you control the interest rates, you control the lifeblood of the economy. When you make them too low for too long, the boom got created. People say, oh, it was stupidity or it was greed. Well, one man's greed is another man's profit. When it's my money, you might look at it as greed. When it's your money, you look at it as your profit. Profit has always been with us. Profit is the invisible hand that Adam Smith talked about. Profit is what drives the efficient distribution of goods in a society. Profit is good.
Resist. Are you an actor or an activist? It's more than your right to insist. Refuse